So I did something a little crazy and cut a giant piece of my Monstera off of the main plant. So I had a really large branch coming off of this and it was kind of draping over, but I thought, man, it would be really nice to have some Monstera up there above the rocks, and so I went ahead and lopped it off. And so then I stuck it in this pot. So this is the giant branch that I cut off of the main plant, and I shoved the end of it into the soil here. And so it used to have a lot of aerial roots, but this Monstera had to be moved so many times that it's not exactly in great healthy condition because we had to cut the aerial roots so many times. So I'm trying to kind of get it to stand up here. I might need to stake it like this so it kind of like stands up in front of the rocks. So that looks pretty good. Kind of filled in some of that gap under the slide and brought up the Monstera from the left up to the center there. So now I have this pot. So I had all these pots up against the rocks, but my intentions are not to have a bunch of pots right here. I just want the one pot right here. So I'm trying to make this pot look a little bit more cheerful because I only had the Monstera in it previously. So what I did was I had this stone crop still in pots from last fall. I think I had bought it in the fall. 3 pots worth. And this is the stone crop sun sparkler dazzleberry. So that's what it'll look like when it blooms. Really, really pretty. So it gets about 8 inches tall, full sun. This is a zone 3 through 9, so I never have to worry about that freezing, but I do have to worry about my Monstera freezing. So I will end up covering all of this anyway. But the ferns that you see back here, I went and stole some of those from in front of my succulent fountain way over there. I never planted those ferns, they just popped up one day and now they're kind of taking over in front of that area. So I harvested some from there and transplanted them over here. And I think I'm gonna add a few more because I really like that difference in texture. And we have kind of empty spot right here. So I think I'll grab some more of that. And that should be it for this. Oh, I also planted a little sweet potato vine right here. And I'm gonna kind of train it to trail forward a little bit and then eventually to hang over the side. But just to kind of fill in and then trail over the side. So once it starts blooming, once the stone crop blooms, it should look gorgeous with all that hot pink color. So that was kind of my project for the day. Let's see what else I can get done. Okay, so next I transplanted this banana, sorry, that's a bird of paradise, a giant white bird of paradise. So I had this pot. This pot's very old, and I had that white bird of paradise along with all of those pink sisters in this pot, along with some lantana. These 2 lantana plants were all in that one pot. So needless to say, this pot was overworked and the white bird of paradise had no chance of getting its normal size in that pot, so tight with everything else. So what's funny is that the pink sisters that I had in this pot came from one big plant that I had kind of continuously trimmed down over the years. And when you trim a Thai plant or a pink sister, whatever you cut off, you just stick back in the soil and it continues to grow. So over time, I ended up propagating several stems here. And as you can see, now I will have basically a hedge of pink sisters, which is going to be beautiful once it kind of flushes out and gets bigger. So Thai plants in our area do better when they have a little bit of protection from the sun. So I have them here right in front of the calla lilies, and they're under this Chinese magnolia and also our, I don't know what kind of tree this is, ash tree maybe, but now that it's kind of getting all of its leaves, it's shading this whole area more and more. The bird of paradise will get part sun as well, but it will continue to grow, and I want to give it its full ability to get as big as it wants to get. I'm not sure how long it'll take to get full grown, but I'm hoping eventually it towers over this fence. So all I did was I kind of took my shovel and loosened everything up, tilted over the pot. First I removed the lantana, that was the easiest thing to remove, and went and planted it in front of the palm tree. I had 2 plants there. And then I removed all the pink sisters. They were very easy to yank out stem by stem, and I just kind of lined those up and planted those real easy. And next was the bird of paradise, which had a pretty giant root system, so I dug a pretty big hole there, planted that. So now I have this pot, and it is very sad, but I really don't want to throw it away per se, because it's such a nice tall planter, and you know how expensive those can be. So I'm thinking maybe I could just put it up against something where the broken part is in the back, and I could still use that. It may even look good up against these rocks, like I could kind of tuck it right there. I don't know what I would put in it yet, but that might be where it ends up going. I'm kind of trying to make, so the chairs really fit best here. We have the most patio space here. I did originally kind of have them over there, and they would be okay over there, but you can't really walk around that area if the chairs are there. So if I have them here, it would kind of be nice to look at like lush plants instead of just the rock wall. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that without just having like a hodgepodge of pots. So we'll see how that all turns out. So this is pretty much what I do every day. I come out here and decide, well, what can I do next? Like, what can I take out of a pot next? Where do I have a spot for XYZ? I don't yet know what I'm gonna do with this hibiscus. It's been happy in a pot for like 3 years now, this same pot. So do I keep it in the pot and just find a spot for it behind the rocks? Or do I try to put it in the ground and risk it freezing? Questions. So that's pretty much it, guys. Let me see what else I can get done today.